welcome to Pillow Talk. I'm your host, Taisha, and I'm here with my handsome husband.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? We've made it to episode number 2. We're going to do this thing again. We're going to be talking about...
He said, she said.
He said, she said. What's that all about?
Well, he said, she said is pretty much...
What I said.
And what I said.
which we always argue about. Have you ever been in a situation where your wife or your husband or your girlfriend, your significant other, your boyfriend, whatever, you guys are into a heated conversation. You heard your wife say something like, I asked you to wash the dishes, and after you wash the dishes, you can watch the game, right? That's what you heard. But then you wash the dishes, you start watching the game, and all of a sudden she comes out of nowhere like, why are you still sitting there and we have all this laundry to do? I've asked you to do the laundry. You're like, but what you said was I can watch the game after I wash the dishes. Has anybody ever been in that situation? Because I know I have.
That part times 2.
So
and it's really very subjective, right? Because we're at that particular time, we're thinking of self in those situations. We're really not considering what the other person is saying. Sometimes we're not even listening to what they're saying. We might hear them, but we're not listening.
So basically, this is good. This is going to be a discussion on communication, because I think a lot of times as couples, the biggest issue, and I think this is an issue anywhere. It's not necessarily just with relationships. I think it's on the board with anything you do, whether it's work, in your workplace or wherever you are, in your church, whatever you are doing, communication seems to always be the issue. So it's, I thought what you said and what I said or whatever that person said is, it always goes awry. It's like always messed up. So I'm taking that you may have a side that you want to pick. So basically the lady always says, and she's always remembering what she says. Is that true or not?
Most times we remember what
see, that right there, it kills everything. I think right there. So the man doesn't remember what he says.
I think the man remembers what he says when it benefits him.
Okay, so that's all subjectively speaking.
I'm saying, that's the reality of it.
Reality? How so? How's that real? How is that real to like anything?
You can remember what you said, yes, but I guarantee you would remember what you said more than you heard what I said.
That's again, I believe, subjective, because a person cannot just bank on the fact that a person did not hear what they said. There's, I think, a couple of factors. One, hearing, listening, and remembering what was said. There are times that we listen, right? There are times that we hear it, but we're not listening to it, right? And you can hear and not listen, right? But you cannot listen and not hear. You can only hear and listen, but you cannot listen to what you're not hearing.
But you can hear and not listen. You can hear and not listen. You know why?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If you're hearing something, but you are generating in your mind what your response is going to be, you're not listening. You're hearing, but you're not listening.
Yeah, I get that. That's what I'm saying. You can hear and not listen, but you cannot listen and not hear. Because in order to listen, you have to be able to hear something.
So what did I just say?
You're just saying the same thing.
Okay.
So you agree with me that you can listen, you can hear and not listen. Yes, there are times that my hamsters could be spinning while you're talking, right? And vice versa. I think it goes well with the ladies as well. And I get it. There are women that can multitask in their brain as well as in terms of, I can listen and hear and do something at the same time. But the thing is, here's what we fail to realize on both sides of the Mars and Venus, right? Both sides of Venus and Mars, men and women, the remembering part, okay? You may have heard what I said, you may have been listening, but you might not remember. And that's the third key. That's the third key right there. And I think a lot of times in relationships, we go with what he said or what she said because simply the fact that we don't remember or we cannot recall. So we're going back into our memory as to what the person is saying or the person has said. And there are times even the person who have said something may have forgot what they said.
And that's why the other person can remind them.
Okay, so when the person reminds them, why is there such an argument as to that's not what I said? That's not what I'm saying. Why is there an argument there?
Well, I think going back to what you're saying, a person forgetting what they said. So if the next person they're having a conversation with reminds them, hey, you said X, Y, and Z. This is what you said. The other person, you can't, arguing down the fact that they didn't say that, I think that draws many other conclusions. At the end of the day, one person heard, another person was listening, and sometimes they just get mixed in the conversation. I know you and I've had many instances of where we go back and forth about who said what and when they said it and how they said it, and it gets heated because they're like, no, we just finished having this conversation and this is what you said. Now it's one thing if I say, you know what, honey, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. I just didn't really hear what you said, and maybe you did say that, and maybe I just missed it. And then there's just sometimes when either of us could be wrong and strong about the whole situation.
Yeah, would it be worse for somebody to say, "I just wasn't listening"?
I don't think it's worse, but I just think it's honest. Sometimes you get into these conversations and you're tuned out because maybe the conversation is very long-winded and you just kind of tune out. And then after you tune out, me personally, I think I'm a direct person. And so I think a lot of people, they shy from me maybe being honest because it could be hurtful. But I'm just like, I wasn't listening, honey. I'm sorry.
That would be, and I'm going to say this for those who are listening. Man, how would that be like so cool in the middle of an argument that the husband would just say, baby, I just wasn't. Here's the thing. Watch this. Man, baby, I'm sorry, I just wasn't listening. You what? You see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I don't think it goes off that easy.
No, I don't think it goes off that easy. You just asked about what's worse, and I'm just saying, well, maybe to answer your question, it might be worse to say
I wasn't listening. Right.
However, it would be truth. It would be truth. And we just have to kind of deal with it at that point.
It's different to say I just didn't hear you.
Yes, but then
to say that I wasn't listening.
That could be a lie, because I could really not have been listening to you.
I get that. Mm-hmm. I get you saying, I don't want to lie. I just say I just wasn't listening to you. I get that. But for someone to say, while you're talking to me and we're arguing about it, say, I probably didn't hear what you said. That goes off easier.
That'll be a little smoother.
That goes off easier than going.
That would show some consideration.
Yes, than to say, I just wasn't listening to you. Sorry, I just wasn't, because that just tells me I have actually no regards for what you're saying.
Well, and maybe you just need to restate.
Restate in the fact that,
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to you. Can you restate?
I guess the other thing is, because we never know what what's on a person's mind, right? So it's easier for a person to go, you know what, I wasn't listening because I had something else on my mind. I'm focused on something else, and I just wasn't listening to what you were saying. I heard you were saying something, but I just wasn't focused on what you were saying, right? Versus, I just wasn't listening, because that, without any context, will just put the person in a bad position to think that, you know what, you have no regards for what I'm saying to you.
So let me ask you this. If I came to you and said, hey honey, I had a problem at work today, what would be your response?
No, what's the problem?
Okay, and I tell you what the problem is.
Right.
Then what happens?
Then I'm going to go into a mode where I got to fix the issue. And this is what you need to tell your boss or whoever is messing with you. This is what you got to do.
But I'm not telling you my problem for you to fix it.
See, that's okay. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we have to understand that men are totally different from women in a lot of regards. Men, our innate nature is to fix whatever is broken, make it right, because we are logical thinkers, we are logical creatures, we are logical beings. So because we have this logic in us, 1 + 1 must make 2. B comes right after A. And in between C is B. So it's just that simple for us. If there's a problem, it needs to be fixed. So in our minds, it's not just the fact that we need to just listen to you and not try to fix it. No, we that's how we want to help out.
And that can be the problem.
How is that a problem?
Because if I come to you and say, hey, honey, I have a problem at work, my expected response from you is, well, tell me what the problem is. I expect you to ask that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also expect for you to allow me to tell you what it is without you trying to fix it.
Okay, so what's the purpose of telling me to then? Why do I need to?
To express to you the problem I had at work, and so that we could dialogue about it, not necessarily for me to fix my issue. Because you can't fix my issue.
Okay, hold on. So if you were speaking to another woman, and I mean, I've heard y'all ladies talk. The women who just not there to listen. They're always trying to fix the issue too.
There are some women like that, but the majority of women are not going in to fix it. They're going in to listen, pretty much. To listen.
Most women.
Because honestly, I would want you to be like, babe, I had a problem at work. I want you to be like, well, baby, tell me what happened. Let me listen to what happened today at work. Not for you to listen and be like, this is how you fix it. That's not what I want.
But okay, so let me go the opposite, right? I come home and I tell you, babe, something crazy happened at work today, and I had a rough day today, right? And you would say,
babe, tell me about your day. Tell me what happened.
Right. Okay. I tell you about what happens, but in my mind, I'm looking for a solution.
But I won't be providing you that solution.
That's the reason why I told you.
I'm providing you the ear to get it off your chest about what your issue is.
Yeah, you gave me the ear. I got that.
That's pretty much what I'm there for. I'm not there to fix that for you. You can fix your own problem.
So what's the purpose of the relationship?
So wait a minute. So we're in a relationship so you can fix my problem?
No, but that's what comes.
I'm not in the relationship to fix your problems.
What?
What? I'm not in the relationship to fix your problems. Let me be specific.
Go ahead.
At work.
But hold on. There's still a need, and we want to hear from you guys. Please share and comment. Please comment on this, because I want to know exactly the whole purpose of the relationship. I mean, not all the times we can fix each other's problem. Okay? But that's the whole point, is to see where there can be some solutions. I may come up with an idea that may work, because I may have been in the same solution, I may have been in the same issue as what you're going through in this moment. So I've experienced it, and based on my experience, I can share and say, hey, this is what I did before, maybe this might work for you. Vice versa, you may have the same experience and go, Larry, this is what I've done before, and this may work for you. Now, it is up to me to accept that suggestion and run with it or not. But we're here to help each other out. So if, in fact, that I come with a problem, there's got to be somewhere for you to go, what, maybe I have a solution. The thing about it is, I think is more in terms of asking first. Maybe that's what we want to do.
That's what it is. And I'm glad you said that, because if I wanted your help on fixing a problem, I would ask you for it.
So what if you forget to ask me for it? You just jump into it.
I won't forget. If the purpose of me coming to you with something is for me to get a solution, I would say, honey, what do you think about this? What do you think I should do? What kind of solution do you think I should have? If I didn't ask you that, that's not what I want.
Yeah. So
that means to me, anytime you come to me now about issues that are going on at your job, I'm not going to automatically jump in and provide you a solution. I'm going to wait till you say, honey, what do you think I should do? Because that's not me. I'm not just going to be offering up. I remember when we got married, your best man actually said in his speech, if they want advice, they will ask you for it.
Yeah, that's the outside world.
No.
That's the outside world.
But I also think it applies also in relationships, because there are certain situations where we do need to ask, and there are certain situations, and maybe we need to think about what those situations are, where we don't have to ask. But when it comes to your work environment, your job, I would want you to ask, because that's an environment that you're in every day, all day long. So ask me.
So basically you're talking to me, hey babe, I got a problem. When do I ask? Do I ask before you tell me the problem, or do I ask after after you tell me, after I've listened.
But keep in mind, I'm not describing my day or my issue to you for you to fix it. No. I just maybe want you just to listen to me, let me vent it out, and then I'll be good. I'm not necessarily asking you to help me with that. I just need the ear. I mean, women can go to each other and talk and be like, girl, this is what happened, and they're just a listening ear. Are men capable of just being a listening ear?
Man to man? Like a man to man talking?
Man to woman.
No. Let's look at man to man.
No. Let's look at man to woman.
Well, man to woman, that's me and you. We done realize. But I'm saying you just said that women can go to other women and they can become a listening ear.
And I believe that
men can do that too.
Okay, so why can't men and women be listening ears?
No, we are listening ear. I think you're missing the point. We are listening to you. That's the whole point. We listen to you. You said, babe, I had a doozy of a day today. I said, what was the issue? You tell me what the problems were, and I listen to you. After I've listened to you, I give a suggestion and say on how to fix it. Well, maybe you might want to try something like this. Because I mean, I've had the same situation before, and this is what I've done.
Again, I didn't ask you.
But I'm sharing with you. See, I think there's some splitting hairs and there's some kind of line. Because the thing about it is there's this Mother May I situation going on right now. So it's almost I gotta listen to you and go, Mother May I suggest something?
That's what I'm saying.
That's exactly what it is, though.
It's not that. I think when you get to know your partner. Again, I think there is a line, but I think we just need to get to understanding. You should understand what your partner is. If you come to me like, man, babe, X, Y, and Z, I don't believe I'm offering you up suggestions a lot of the times. I'm just kind of letting you, and I'll be like, babe, tomorrow will be a better day. Whereas,
well, I mean, how does that really work? Tomorrow's gonna be. So I'm like, okay, so what do you think?
I think solutions happen, like in the relationship. If there are things going on. And we both need to have solutions to fix that problem because they're interrelationship problems. Inside of the workplace or in the work environment, if we're having different situations happening, for me personally, I just want you to listen to me. This is what happened today. This is how it happened. And I might have to start off the conversation by saying, I'm not looking for you to provide me a solution. I'm just looking for you to listen. Does that work?
That's probably better.
Okay.
Then for me to have the whole Mother May I situation, like, is it okay if I share with you my suggestion?
Because that's just share your experience, but you don't have to offer any suggestion.
But
unless I ask you for one.
But it's also for you to accept it or not. I think there should be some free range there, because if this is like, well, I'm not really asking you to fix the problem. Okay, then one day you might have this situation where, and this happens a lot. This might happen when a situation comes up and things are happening on the fly. And you're like, babe, I'm having a problem, and I'm having this issue at work, and this person, this, that, and that. And then I walk out the room after I listen to you, and I go, oh man, babe, I mean, you know what? Let's pray about it. And I walk out the room. And you're like, man, I need to have something going on now. What should I do?
I'll ask you.
You see, but that's the point. The point is, I could have told you that before me walking out the door. You see?
But I think you're missing the point. You could have told me that, but I didn't ask you.
No, but you're in the need of it right now.
And I will ask you.
But you could
the need.
But I'm saying there are times that you forgot, and there are times that people can't forget.
Give me an example.
Oh, wow. Okay. Let me go ahead and go through the Rolodex. But there are times where people forget. The thing about it is, we are not robots. That's the thing. We are human beings. So we're not robots. We're not programmed to remember off the cuff all the time. We are human beings that we move by emotions, feelings, and all these types of things. Things happen on the fly. Things are moving fast. Communication can get lost in the emotion. It can get lost in the feeling. It can get lost in the moment. Right? So the thing about it is, yes, I get it. If you just tell me one day I come into the bedroom like, yeah, baby, my day was this, that, and the third, and I'm listening to you and I go, oh man, you know what? We can just pray about it next time, baby. And I walk away and you feel good. I got my listening ear. He didn't fix it. I'm good to go. Okay? But the person who cares about you is also like, man, I hope I don't know how to make this thing happen for her or help her out with it. Or maybe I should, or I don't. But We walk away and nothing happens of it. You're good. But there are instances where something may happen on the fly and on the cover. You may forget to go, you know what, babe? I think I need a suggestion. And I walk away. You don't get your suggestion. I've walked away, but you're still in the problem. So I'm saying there's got to be we can't just have a black and white situation. That's not a black and white situation. I think there's gray in that area.
It can be.
I think there's gray in that area.
Personally, yeah, we always need to have a solution. And my opinions may vary based on that solution than yours. We've had instances where we don't necessarily see eye to eye on certain situations.
Correct.
And we articulate that, and we have to leave it for a moment and come back to it.
I totally agree. There are times, but that's in the heat of the arguments because of communication. Yes, I believe that there are times where you walk away from whatever you can walk away from. Come back the next day and see how you can relate in a different way where it's not ballooning into a all-out brouhaha kerfuffle. So, yeah, you got to be careful with that. So I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. All right. So another thing with he said, she said. Another thing in terms of communication is the what and the how. So basically, I've said something to you, but it was the how that
you said.
Yeah, which ruffled feathers.
I don't say I struggle with that, but I do believe it's not necessarily what you say, it's how you say it.
Okay.
I think people are more receptive on how you say things. Some people are just, and I don't want to be offensive, but very thin-skinned.
Yeah, people are very thin-skinned. They're thin-skinned people.
Back in the day when I was a little younger than I am now, you could just kind of say whatever to people and they would just suck it up, take it, and be done with it.
Right.
Nowadays, you have to walk on eggshells and, try to figure out, different ways to say things. And I think I've matured I'm not as blunt or brash as I used to be. But I still am direct. And I do agree that it's how you say something versus what you say. And then you're supposed to know your audience too, meaning know the people you're talking to and understand their personalities. And maybe you can still say things to them very brash. I try not to, because I look at myself too. If you come and say something to me and it just ain't right, I'm going to tell you it just ain't right, and I'm not going to receive what you have to say.
Well, yeah, I guess it all depends on, as who we are as Christians, we're supposed to kind of grow and mature into our reactions. That makes a difference, right? Because we ought to be able to grow and mature. If somebody comes up to you and says something, it's happened to me many times before. I think the worst is when it happens in front of people, right? The worst is when it happens in front of somebody and you feel outright disrespected. Like, how are you going to just disrespect me like that? On that regard, on that note, though, the response, the reaction is double more than just how the person said it to you. And that's where we have to really kind of be careful, even in our relationships with our spouses, and relationships with others. We have to be very careful on how we react, because most people like to just draw out the reaction. They want to see how you're going to react, right? And the thing about it is, what gets more, what gets more play on anything else, or what's more seen. What's seen more is the reaction. Is the reaction, So I think we have to be very careful on the reaction part. Yes, somebody may say something to you. What your response is, they may trigger you, and I'm using the word trigger because that's the word they're using today, right? I don't know if we were triggered at all in the 80s. We just didn't care about whatever. And when people talked about us, we talked about them. I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
Today, the other part is we didn't have social media.
That's true. You had to deal with people direct, right in front of them, face to face.
Right.
You didn't have what you call them, keyboard thugs?
Nah, you didn't have keyboard thugs. So.
You didn't have keyboard thugs that they're typing everything, but if they saw you in person, they would not say it to you to your face.
That, or we didn't have, what we did have was pen pal. Now, I don't know how many of y'all remember pen pal, But we weren't going to send a pen pal message.
Yeah, your pen pal was just somebody you met overseas somewhere, and you just
that's what I'm saying. We didn't have that.
Yeah, y'all just writing nice notes.
We weren't sending messages back and forth to pen pal about this person talking about me and this, that, the third, and blah, blah, blah. We didn't do that. And even when we were writing people or whatever have you, we didn't write about somebody talking about us. We dealt with what we had to deal with. I think the word on the street, it circulated on the streets. Yeah. Period. Right? And I remember those days. How many of y'all remember three-way calling? On the phone.
Oh yeah, you could just be like, listen, I'm gonna put that person on the phone.
Yeah.
And get them to say what they said
about you. Right. Yeah. And we would do that. And then
Actually, as a grown person now, I still do that. I don't play with the he said, she said. That's a whole nother realm we can get into about the rumors coming out of he said, she said. But yeah, I don't play them type of games.
So you're gonna be on the phone when you say you're gonna actually three-way somebody now?
I mean,
you still have that in you?
Meaning, if we can't have a face-to-face because of distance or whatever, I'm gonna get on the phone real quick. Oh, that person said that? Hold on 1 second. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, great. So, I was told that you said X, Y.
You still
I didn't say that. You didn't?
Wait.
Well, I got Larry on the phone.
No, I wouldn't be on the phone. No. I would not do that. That's old school stuff, man. I'm not
it's old school, but it's effective.
Nah.
I mean, certain situations, everybody's spread out now. You can't.
Sometimes some things are just well enough to be left alone.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't do if it's something that nowadays, people say whatever they want. I'm just like, you know what? If you say it and I don't know about it, that's your business. That's your business.
Right. I just think it's we have to just be smart. Because I think some people just want to trigger you just to see what your reaction is. And again, You know
how many times I personally have been put in that situation where somebody has riled me up so much and I want to say something and I just hear the Holy Spirit's voice say, shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say anything. Because if you say something, your witness is not going to be good. Because I'm liable as a human flesh and bones to say something that's going to be out of order.
Yeah, and because, basically, now the Bible talks about the tongue in James, the book of James, and how we have to really control our mouths, control our tongues. If we don't know how to control our tongues, then we can be putting some, people today record your voice, they record, and that's all they want. They just want it to get you. So if anything happens in court or whatever have you, or we got what she got, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And or you're trying to get this job, and you got a character witness, and that person goes, yeah, I'll be hired. You should hire them. You thought that they were your friend. You asked them to give you a character witness or a character, and they come around with some recording. Yeah, we had this conversation. And I don't think you should hire them because they're vulgar and they may seem nice, but this is what they sound like. This is the real them. No, you don't want to get yourself caught up today.
I've failed a couple of times here lately because my character is not any longer to kind of like blow up at anybody. Mm-hmm. I just kind of be like real chill until I really feel like I have to say something. And even in that situation, I have to be mindful. Mm-hmm. of what I'm saying.
Yep.
So let's get into he said, she said, rumor mill.
Okay.
So how do you feel about that? I mean, I know men typically, y'all don't really deal with that kind of stuff.
Not to the level of women.
Yeah, women, we can be real. I mean, if those of you who are watching, be honest. Put in your comments. We can be really catty about that subject. And rumors, well, he said this, she said that. And I mean, as adults, it happens all the time. So how if you're put in a position like that, how do you respond to that?
Well, I mean, it all depends. There's a couple variables. If it's somebody that's close to me, I can deal with that person, right? I think we should be able to communicate in such a way. We're friends, we understand what the situation is, and certain things are out of context. Rumors can be, there's a song, was it "Spread Love" by Take 6? The gossip queens, we can just call them greens. Yeah. They had the rumor like the gossip magazine. That's the whole thing. By the time it gets repeated, the truth has been deleted, right? So the whole point is that you want to make sure that, hey, it may have been said out of context, and by the time it got to you, it's not even true.
Kind of like that old game we used to play, what, telephone? Telephone,
yeah. You tell somebody, and then by the time you go around the circle, it comes back to you totally different. So, I like to go to the source. Hey, what was the context? Like, what was being said? If the person is like, this is what I said, and to them it may seem true, but I have the opportunity to go, man, that's not even the case. It happened to me at church.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Matthew 18 talks about the principles of communicating in situations, and the first one is you go to the individual directly.
That's right.
And you try to sort out whatever the misunderstanding is, and if that doesn't work, then you bring in a witness.
That's right.
One or two people to come in, and you guys have that discussion again, and if that doesn't work, then you take it before, they say, the church, with the community. You take it before your fellow brothers and sisters. And if that just doesn't work, at that point, you've done
all that you can do
to resolve that situation. And I understand that principle very well. I'm learning myself to execute that. I've been put in situations like that before, and I'm growing in that. I still think I have a little bit in me.
A little fire.
A little bit in me.
The old Bronx
where I'm not the Bronx in me that hasn't left. That, I'm doing those principles, but maybe not in the way that I should, because I still have a little bit of a tude going into it. Like, somebody's like, yeah, such and such said this. I'm like, yeah, all right, let's get them on the phone.
So that's the phone battles, though.
I mean, it's not a battle. It's just,
those are phone fights.
And that's why I'm saying I'm growing and I'm learning to deal with these situations a little differently and be like, you know what? If somebody tells me something that somebody said about me, I can go to the person. I can even tell the person telling me, like, you know what? That's their business. It hasn't come to me. I haven't heard it from them. So that's their business. I guess when it bothers them enough, they can come to me and talk to me about it.
Right.
And then we can, deal with it then. But yeah, man, I always know that men deal with those types of things a little bit different.
We're just a little bit different. We won't get catty. I mean, guys talk about guys and this, that, he said this, that, and the third, da. But to the point where, in most times, if it doesn't see men, because we are protectors, we can take the parade against us, right? And we can deal with it accordingly, whether we want to deal with it or not. But once it goes against our family, like back in the day, this was what guys will do. You can joke and snap on me all day long, and we can ha, ba. But the moment you talk about my mama, fists are swinging. It's a wrap. It's a deal. You done went over the line, because that's my mom. I protect mom, and I love mom. So I would not allow you to speak against my mother, right? Or any part of my family, for that matter. So I'm ready to fight, because that is drawing the line. Now, that's how guys think. Guys, because we are protectors, we can deal with the one-on-one attack accordingly. But the moment you've stepped over the line to go against the family, that's when our protector, that's when the guy who proceeds to protect his family jumps out. Women, because of emotion,
yes,
you're driven by that.
And to piggyback off of that, we are driven by emotion at times. And the bad thing too about the he said, she said situation, or sometimes she said situation, is that the individual in which is being talked about, they're really innocent in the whole situation. And you can, as a woman, you could start to dislike that individual for no reason. Like, they really never said anything, did anything to you, but based off of what somebody else said about them, you make a judgment. And I've been through that a couple of times too. Like, man, I just don't like this lady, or I don't like this girl because of something somebody else said about her. And come to find out, whether she said it or not, or whatever the case may be, getting to know this individual or individuals, right, They cool.
I think a lot of women have that issue.
We are very.
You can dislike somebody just because.
Yes, and you know, has nothing else.
I don't like her.
I don't like her because of nothing.
You always find something. I was telling my wife, man, y'all be finding something about the person. The person may have just said it could be out of context. I don't like what she said. I don't like her, and it's just, you know.
Well, I think we need to, you know, drill into that, because it's kind of like, you know, as an example, I was mentioning to my husband about a conversation I was having with someone, and their expression was like really weird on their face when they learned that I was their wife. I was his wife. And he was like, man, you just find a way. And I'm like, no, but to me, it's kind of like, well, she just didn't know. Or if she knew, she was upset now that she knows that you're married. And her expression on her face, I was just like, the expression she gave wasn't one of, you know, like, it was a surprised expression, but it was like a surprise expression with like a stank face, like an attitude. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah, I can pick up attitudes real quick.
I know.
And think about men, we don't care. We don't care. We may see it, but it doesn't matter to us. That doesn't matter to me. Okay. You know, if it was flipped and I told this guy, you know, that was my wife, and he's like, you know, he puts a stank face on, like, you know, to me that doesn't matter. At the end of the day,
I wouldn't do that. He'd be like, "Oh, that's
no, but still, if he did, because there are a couple of guys who, you know, but to me that's a shock. Like, oh, I didn't know that was your wife. You know, but it happened to their Dollar General. It did. It happened to their Dollar General. This guy I met, right? We were talking, and he said that he met a young lady at L&L Brown's, you know, L&L, the gas station right there, and she had, you know, curly short hair to the, you know, to her shoulders, whatever have you. And I was like, oh, that was my wife. And he was like, oh,
how do you know it was me?
It wasn't you.
Oh, okay.
At the end of the day, it wasn't, because he said that what made it wasn't you, because I said that you may, because again, you may have had your crochet right here where it's actually spiraling. Okay. Right? So he said that that's what he saw, and I said, oh, that may have been my wife. That's my wife. You probably met my wife at the gas station. He goes, oh, okay, yeah, man, she's a really nice lady. She talked about she's gonna go to school or whatever have you. She's like 28. I'm like, whoa, that's not my wife. My wife is not 28. Furthermore, my wife is not in school, so I was just like, that's not my wife. So when I was like talking to him, I said, the only person that has curly hair down to their shoulders is Marsha, as a black woman. I don't know anybody else in Gruy Lager that fits that description, unless it's somebody who's in the Hebrew Israelites. Right? Maybe I don't know who they are, but I know there's a few of them up here. So I'm thinking in my head, the only person I know curly hair like that could be Marsha, right? But again, when I said that was my wife, his expression was like, you know, and I took that as, oh really? Because we kept on going with it.
Oh, because there's so many little. There's not a lot of us out here. It just automatically have to be 3 of us.
Right. So to him, he was more like shocked, like, oh, okay, oh, you know. But again, I'm not. At the end of the day, a guy can give me a stink face. I don't really care about a stink face. Because at the end of the day, she's still gonna be my wife, no matter what the situation is. Right? I don't care what he's thinking. And that's the thing about women. Women think about what the other woman's thinking. I would not care about what the guy is thinking, because the guy has absolutely nothing to do with me or my wife. But my wife now, she would think about what the other woman is thinking. Like I was trying to think about, I'm trying to say her husband. So that's the reason why my face was stank. And that's the reason why her face is stank. And that's why I know. You know, it's like,
and that was nothing that somebody said to me. I saw that. I felt that at that moment.
So did you think that she may have had something about me or for me?
Absolutely. Just based off of her body language and her reaction.
Wow. This is the same person that may be running after somebody else.
It's possible, but I would have never known that by the reaction.
Oh, wow. Well, you know, again, I think in my wife's head that everybody's after her husband. That's bar none. That's the foundation. So
I trust. nobody.
Right. So if you come at her with anything that has anything to do with her husband, her spidey senses go up in the emotions like that person is done.
I wouldn't do that, but I'm side-eyeing them a couple of times.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
Where guys just don't. We don't. You have to be able to. It's like we have to be able to decipher what's real and what's not real, and we don't move on emotion. So that's the difference. That's the thing with men. So we don't move on emotion. We look at what's real, right? We calculate. Now, if there's a guy that's after my wife, I've seen it before, and I've stopped.
You haven't seen that before.
What you talking about? I've seen that before. You forgot there was a dude that totally stopped talking to you after I confronted him?
Oh, yeah.
And he was actually trying his best. He did everything in his power. 2 strikes, he was out.
Okay.
The comment and the foot. Yeah. 2 strikes, he was done. Right? The comment and the foot. And that was it. Once that was it, I was like, okay, I know exactly what he's trying to do. Calculation. Now, there are other guys that may say something and they be commenting or complimenting, and I can see whether or not it's actually genuine or not. And most guys do not want to compliment on another guy's person that they don't want to compliment that much. Because, no, I ain't messing with Larry's wife. I ain't saying no, that's Larry's wife. Let him be the one to compliment. But you have somebody that comes to you, man, girl, you ain't some ladies, right? That's not going to happen. Now that tells me you've been looking too hard, right? That's it. So I again, the way we work as men is a little bit different as the way women work as women, because we deal differently. We are more logical. Women are more emotional, and that's how God made us, and it's a perfect fit.
And you guys, you're right. You don't really tap into all of that she said stuff because, and we have to really learn not to. I mean, there's so many different, variables when it comes to that, that we just have to be mindful that, sometimes, most times, we should not even engage ourselves in that type of stuff.
It's called corrupt communication, actually. That's what it is called, corrupt communication. So, all right. So here's something that we should counsel that we should always take out of this, right? The counsel is, we are counseled to let no corrupt communication proceed out of our mouth. But a corrupt communication is not simply something that is vile and vulgar. See that? So again, corrupt communication is not something that's always vile and vulgar. It could just be putting ourselves in somebody else's business that we should not be. Right? And that's where the he said, she said comes out of. That's where you know what she said? You know what he said? When we start this gossip line, like I said, we start the rumor mill, right? It's not always vulgar. It is any communication that will shut down from the mind the view of Christ, that will block from the soul true sympathy and love. It is a communication in which the love of Christ is not expressed, but rather sentiments of unchrist character. It is which brings oppression upon men, women, youth, and children for whom Christ has given his life. It is in the decisions that are formulated against those who need help and who will perish if they are left to die. So, again, our communication matters. We shouldn't get into, in our relationships, we should really mind what we say and how we say. And on top of that, we should always make sure that we do not go to bed without communicating something nice to our spouse.
And also, understanding your spouse and the things that, when you've been together for a long time with somebody, and I use this word, you should understand their character. And we should be mindful. And you're right. As we're talking about this and I'm thinking about it, you're right that there should be some gray area, even in the area of solutions, when you're describing certain events that are going on in your life in the workplace. And it should not be black or white. I know sometimes, now that I'm thinking about it, it's a lot of black and white with me when it comes to that.
Yeah, and that's where that black and white causes failures a lot
because
in
you don't
certain
meet the
times.
Standard.
Right, and if you don't meet the standard, then the person is like you always have a problem with that person because they have not met your standard.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and then again on the other end, the person could be a whole lot more open, where you're more free to move around, right? They're more gray, so you can, and we're not saying that you have to have gray in your relationship and everything. There's certain things that are standard driven, black and white driven, but you have to have a balance, is what we're saying. All right, this was good. What do you guys think?
Yes, please like, share, subscribe to our page. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to watch Release TV's Pillow Talk. We have some really great episodes coming up. And we want to see your comments. We want you to tell us what you thought about this episode. And if you have any suggestions, please share those as well.
That's right. We will see you guys next week. Bye, y'all.